Hey, I'm Bob. Totally blind since birth, into Power Rangers, got the Shout Factory box set in my hands, and we're talking about episode 62, The Mutiny, part 2 of 3. That's right, the big 3-part season 2 premiere. So, part 2 of The Mutiny premiered on July 29th in 1994. That was a Friday night, if memory serves correctly, and it would premiere yet again in prime time. We got an episode of X-Men right after, too. So in this episode, we see the action continue. Right after the theme song ends, we're hit in the face with a truckload of action because, well, we continue right where the last episode leaves off. All the Zords but the Tyrannosaurus have been frozen, and the Rangers are just about to send this thing against the Piranha's head monster. But on the moon, Lord Zed's like, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have my monster take control of your Tyrannosaurus, and we'll finish you off with your own weapon. How do you like that? Well, paraphrasing Zed, of course. So you have the Piranha's head monster playing a little ditty on his fish flute. At least I think it's probably the same weapon that my old 8 or 9 inch Piranha's head Bandai figure had when I was a kid. I would imagine it looks something like that. And so you have Tyrannosaurus no longer under the Rangers' control. It's got to feel very surreal having your own weapon turn on you like that. I mean, Jason's been in the cockpit, he's been fighting alongside the Zord. I always got the sense that these guys viewed the Zords more than just machines. After a while, they really seem more in tune with these ancient weapons. And so you have Tommy in the command center, and we see Zordon recharging Tommy's powers by transferring some of his own into Tommy. I guess it's probably the same as we got to see in Return of an Old Friend Part 2. So Zordon is an immensely powerful being, and I've always imagined having that guy's energy transferred into your ranger suit has to feel something like, oh, I don't know, maybe drinking a bunch of Rockstar Monster energy drink. Not that I've ever had those. I don't really like the taste of them. If I did, I mean, well, that would be a different story, but I don't. So yeah, Tommy's got his powers temporarily recharged, and he goes back into action, summons the Dragon Zord, and we have this Zord on Zord battle. We got the Tyrannosaurus versus the Dragon Zord. I would imagine this looked very cool. Now, some people say it's the same footage we got to see in Green with Evil Part 5. Some say it is, some say it isn't. So you guys let me know in the comment section as to what this looked like. I was enthralled when I was a kid and watching this for the first time, though. Always loved Zord on Zord battles. But the battle doesn't last that long because, well, Lord Zed's not done. He decides to take control of the Dragon Zord while he's at it, and he's just laughing while he's coming up with this idea. So Piranha's head takes control of the Dragon Zord, and now you have two massive fighting machines coming after the Rangers. They're trying to evade the Dragon Zord tail. Dragon Zord has armed his missiles. He fires a couple of those at him. In the command center, while all this is going on, Zordon says something to Alpha like, it's good that we've anticipated Zed's arrival. We're going to have to start phase 2. So apparently Zordon has... he's made contingency plans on top of contingency plans, as we'll see later in Season 2. I mean, this guy, does he ever sleep? Well, I guess he does sleep, and we'll see what that's like in a couple episodes. But I guess I should say, does he ever have any downtime? Or is he always like, okay, if this happens, we're going to make this. If that happens, we're going to initiate this. And it's just really cool to see Zordon. He's just as much of a strategist as Zed. He's always thinking several steps ahead of the present day. Zordon has contingency plans on top of contingency plans. I always love this character. So you have that going on. The Rangers, they're not doing too well, so they decide to head back to the command center. And Zordon lets everybody know that in order to defeat Zed, they're going to need new Zords. And this is where we get our first look at the Thunder Zords. So Zordon has apparently been building these for quite some time. I don't know when these went into production. How in the world he got the parts he needed. I guess he probably uses a whole bunch of them from the old Zords. As he says, they're going to need to take control of the old Zords in order to control the new one. So I'm guessing it's got something to do with the morphing grid and all that stuff. So they can't use them until they take them back from Piranha's head. But yeah, Jason, he's going to control the Red Dragon Thunder Zord. Trini's going to control the Griffin. Zach's going to control the Lion. Billy's going to control the Unicorn. And Kimberly is going to control the Firebird. And of course, Tommy, he can't control a Zord of his own because his powers are too unstable and they're limited. I remember being a bit bummed out when I was a kid, but it did make sense to me then. And I mean, knowing what we know now, Zordon was probably already working on that 6th Zord and coming up with new powers for Tommy, I'm guessing. Because I'm sure he didn't do any of this stuff overnight. So you have all this going on in the command center. And while they're talking about those Zords, I guess Zed was spying on them because we go up to the palace after they find out about their Zords, and Zed says something like, "Give it up, Zordon. Nothing you'll ever do will be able to defeat me." So I'm thinking to myself, are you looking directly at them through your little visor? You know, are you seeing all this, man? Like, how much can you detect with that thing? How much can you hear with, well, I'm guessing ear implants? I don't think he has any ears anymore. And so, yeah, that was a really creepy scene. I'm wondering just how much Rita, Repulsa, and Lord Zed know about what's going on in the command center, or if he's just kind of talking to himself about Zordon. I don't know if he's actually spying on what's going on at present. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I think Zed's just as powerful as Zordon. Well, of course, we know that from the Boom Studios comics. Boy, I wish I could read those. So you have the Rangers coming up with a way to control the new Zords, or to gain control of the old Zords so they control the new Zords. And Billy decides to create a signal blocker, and this is going to basically reprogram the Zords so they can take them back. And it's going to take a while for that device to be built. So Billy and Trini split off from the team, and they're going to go to the lab. I always love seeing Billy's lab. I imagine he's got quite a cool setup in there. So those two are working on that signal blocker, and you have the other Rangers keeping tabs on what's going on in Angel Grove. So Piranha's head, he's targeting the rally. He's just going to start heading there. And you have Bulk and Skull. They're having a bit of a tiff because one wants to go one way, one goes the other way. And, you know, they're wanting to see who knows exactly where they're going. They wind up meeting each other again in a bit. And you have Piranha's head finding them. And so they've already stole the Rangers, a couple of the Rangers' bikes, and so he, you know, causes their bikes to go in reverse. You've got this wacky scene with them trying to regain control of their bikes. Thank goodness they don't fall off and hurt themselves. I mean, they're Bulk and Skull, so I'm amazed that they're able to stay on the bikes and basically wind up all right. So you have the Rangers heading back out into the field because now Piranha's head he's heading toward that rally, so they're going to need to fight him. And Zed, he's going to send down the putties once again to soften them up. So we have another Z-Putty battle, our second Z-Putty battle. And it's not as difficult as the first, but these putties are still quite a bit stronger than Rita's. And you do have them beaten. They're all shattered once again. And then Piranha's head shows up because, of course, this has all been a trap. I think he's been disappearing and reappearing. He does do that once before the putties attack, and then after, Zed has him come back into the fray, and then he summons the Zords to finish them off. And so Tyrannosaurus, he's firing his little mouth laser cannon, or he's breathing fire. I always thought that was more of a laser cannon than fire. Hey, it could be fire, though. You guys tell me what he's shooting out of his mouth. And the episode ends with Jason asking how long it's going to take Billy and Trina to build that device, and they really need it, and he's not sure how much longer they can last. So you have them being targeted by their Zords, and that's how that second episode ended. Boy, these cliffhangers, man, they were pretty tense, and I liked all of the stuff in the episode pertaining to the Zords, loved learning about the new Zords, and just how much of a contingency planner Zordon is. I mean, this guy, I would imagine he loves building things just as much as Billy. I'm sure poor Alpha has to do all of the schematic designing and things like that. Although I would imagine Zordon can probably manipulate the computers and things too. I'm not sure how much of a telepathic link he might have with, certain things. I would imagine Alpha has to do most of the grunt work though. Man, geez, Alpha must be overworked too. But yeah, what a cool episode. And yes, I did immediately want the Thunder Zords once they were described, and especially when Zordon was letting them know that they could all combine to form he says Mega Thunder Zord, but later I think they change it to Thunder Megazord. Well, they kind of rearrange the title. Sometimes it's Mega Thunder and sometimes it's Thunder Mega. Anyway, this will do for part 2. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of this 3-parter. It's one of my absolute favorites. And I'll hear you guys in the next episode review. We're going to be talking about the exciting conclusion, the Mutiny Part 3. So be here for that. May the power protect you. Watch out for giant fish. And hear you next time.